So let's go over the architecture of licensing, of device licensing in Upflux. So first, we'll go for the pre-registration request, which is when a device first time connected to Upflux, meaning it doesn't have a license to begin with. So what happens is the gateway using the cloud communication service, which is the gateway's gRPC, will send a request to the license communication service, which is the cloud's gRPC implementation, which then will call the license management service. So this was our early plan, but turns out we have changes during implementation. So first of all, license communication service is integrated into the control channel service, which contains all of gRPC related functionality. So here we can see the send license response async and then the handle license request. And also we are not currently using the license management service to handle the pre-registration request. Instead, we just call a notification if a device sorry, we don't actually call notification, we just added the device into our database in the case that this device is a new device, meaning it doesn't have the license. So we can see here, this is our function that handles the pre-registration request. So here we just add this new machine if the ID is recognized as our own ID, which is the ID we generated. So basically we remove the license management service from this diagram and change the license communication service into the control channel service. So for post registration requests, we don't have any changes. So post registration request is when a device is registered, meaning it's already in the database, but it doesn't have a license yet. So here the client can register this device manually and give it a license. So as we can see, the flow starts from the front end, which is the client, which call the endpoint, the register endpoint, and which in turn calls the license management service. The license management service then creates the license and use the license communication service, which was again integrated into the control channel service to send the license into the gateway through the cloud communication service, which is the gateway's gRPC. So now we go over the validation. So currently we make changes to our project and we don't plan to implement this, but I can go over this. So early on we planned that periodically the gateway will cross-check the license with the metadata on the cloud. So this will keep the licenses in sync. So what happens is the license validation service will check if there's will process the licenses. So it will have the periodic logic, which then will call cloud communication service to send the licenses and to be received by the license communication service, which is then data used by the license management service to compare with the data, with the license data on the database, on the cloud database. So due to the increasing scope of our project, this got cancelled. But other than that, the two flows still are existing.